finished up with the gold. Looks pretty spiffy. And I think what we're going to do now is the chest piece. And I'm going to do some wet on wet technique. So I'm going to take a fairly big brush. This one might be a little bit too big. Let's go with this one here. And what we're going to do is we're going to wet down the area I want to paint in. Don't want to get too soggy. And as you can see, I'm washing over the piece that I painted on previously. I can do that with this because it's the acrylic paint. If I had done this with watercolor, it would have started spreading all over the place. Don't want to oversaturate, just enough that the paper's going to be a bit wet. You don't want to take too long with it because it'll dry. Alright, I'm going to take some more of my sap green. I'm going to put on my palette here. I'm going to take my smaller brush and dip a wee bit of that in there. Just going to wash it around here. It's making some nice feathering. But it's nice light, and again, as you can see, you gotta be real careful with it when you do the wet on wet because it can be a little bit spontaneous and go where you don't really want it to. But most of the time it does tend to stay just where the water went, so I could have been more careful and not gone into the chains and it wouldn't have smeared into it. I was being lazy. So we're going to go on down here, add a little bit more water. Smear it down here. And the type of watercolor paper you use is up to you. There are lots of different types: cold press, hot press, $5 to $10 a sheet style. I like cheaper. Cheaper is good, but with cheaper paper you do have some problems. Is it will warp more. It can ball up a little bit. So I'd suggest working on less expensive paper from the beginning. Maybe, I believe it's the cold press that has the smoother texture. If it gets too bumpy, it can make using color pencil on it later on a little bit more difficult, or it can disrupt your image if it's really representational, like my little elf guy here. Go inside the chains here. Okay, the green is dried, so we're going to come back in and do a little bit more. This time we're going to do some dry, wet on dry. I think I'm going to use the smaller brush. Let's see, one's a bit frayed. We're going to use this one. We're going to do some details in between the chains. On some shadows, add a little bit more water to feather it out some, lighten it up. Hope you guys are enjoying this. I know a little bit of this seems kind of monotonous, but that's what painting is. It's a lot of the same stuff over and over again, but it's very relaxing. It's good stress relief, at least unless, you know, what you're painting is stressing you out, which occasionally happens. But I generally enjoy what I'm doing, and I hope I'll be able to continue doing this for you guys. It's pretty fun showing people what I've learned over the years. A little bit more detail in there. Kind of a minty green. that help a little bit. And in case you're wondering, yes, you can use watercolor over this. It's just once you do, you have to remember that anytime you add water to the canvas, it's going to have the possibility of smearing pretty bad or fading. That's why I really enjoy these, because you can do a lot of the same watercolor techniques, you know, getting the feathering and the spotting without worrying about it coming up when you don't really want it to. Works for a really good base. Use a little bit more green here. He has a superhero chest. Something else I've sometimes done is I've used two brushes at the same time. If I've got, you know, the dark paint on one brush, I come in with another brush that has just water on it, and I can switch between the two. And that can be fun sometimes if you've got a lot of areas to do. Spread it around some more. Get those details in there.